Pets Add Life, your guide to the latest in pet trends, products, and the joy of the human-animal bond, with Kristen Levine and Chris Bonifati, powered by the American Pet Products Association and Dog TV.
Hey there, pet lovers. Welcome to a very special edition of the Pets Add Life podcast. We are live here at WVC in Las Vegas. I'm Kristen Levine, and normally co-hosting with me is Chris Bonifati, but today I have Dr. Jeff Werber.
Hello.
Welcome. Hi.
Thank you. This is great.
This is your third time on the show.
It's wonderful.
And who are you holding?
This is Kinsey and who's
Cilantro.
This? Cilantro.
This is Cilantro.
How cute. Anyway, this makes it all worthwhile. Not Kristen, that you're not great to be with, but I have a dog on my lap. I'm in heaven.
Yes, and I'm surrounded today by dogs and veterinarians, and I couldn't be happier. Dr. Jeff, I just want to remind our audience, because you have an incredible background. You're an Emmy Award-winning veterinarian.
Yes.
You've been doing television for how many years?
Close to 40, about 35, 36 years.
Okay, so you started when you're like 5.
Yeah.
And you're also the co-founder of Airvet, which I think we're going to talk about that
We'll talk about
later.
Airvet. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So the format of our show, you probably know this because you've been on the show so many times, but we start off with 2 stories, and then we're going to interview 2 guests here at the show.
Perfect.
And then we're going to do 2 products. We're going to talk about 2 products we pick. Oh, sweetie, it's okay. Cilantro's not happy to be here. And then we're going to wrap it up with answering 2 audience questions. So you ready?
Sounds good to me. Absolutely.
Kristen and Chris present Story Time.
Okay, it is story time, Dr. Jeff. So I'll go first.
Go ahead.
All right. So I came across this survey that FIGO Pet Insurance did recently. They surveyed 2,000 pet parents from boomers to zoomers. So that's 4 generations. And I thought I'd share some of the findings that they came up with. And there's one I want to ask you about. So this is not really surprising, but Gen Z pet parents are more likely to have pet insurance.
Okay.
Not surprising, right? Gen Z pet parents are more likely to look for sustainable products, and they're also more likely to consider their pet when they are purchasing a home or moving to a new, living space. But this one was really surprising. Gen Z is less likely to allow their pet to sleep in bed with them.
Wow.
Isn't that kind of unusual?
It's interesting. There was a guy on the internet recently that was saying that not only not sleeping in the bed, shouldn't even have pets in the house. Which I thought, all these medical reasons, these diseases. I mean, really, I've been licked by more pets, thousands, all right? And I never get sick. I think it's great.
It is.
I'm
good for our immunity.
I'm the last one in bed. I have 9 pets at home. So they take priority. And if I can fit in, I'll fit in.
You said you have 9 pets?
9 pets.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
5 dogs and 4 cats.
And they're all in the bed?
All in the bed.
Wow.
And sometimes they come and go, but it's the best thing. You don't need a heating blanket. If you have pets sleeping with you in bed, you do not need a heating blanket. You get natural heat, and not to mention, they're so cute. Except when they want to wake up in the middle of the night and give you kisses, but other than that, yeah.
Gen Z, you're missing out. I think they're going to come around.
Yeah, they will.
They will.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how about your story? You've been in this industry for a long time.
A long time. My over 40 years.
Yeah.
And I've been coming to this show, the Western Veterinary Conference, for about 40 years. In fact, I think I came my first time as a senior at UC Davis at veterinary school.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm watching this show grow from half of the regular exhibit hall to now 2 exhibit halls.
Yep.
And the energy is contagious. It really is. I just met a delegation from China, and they love this. And they have conferences there too, but he said they're boring, they're no fun.
We know how to have fun in Vegas.
Here, you just get the most amazing energy. You can feel it, and that's where veterinary medicine is going.
Yeah, and tell our viewers and our listeners who are pet parents, what does an event like WVC mean for us? How does it benefit our vets and our pets?
Oh, well, first of all, there's so much to learn. I mean, yesterday, Sunday, I went through 6 sessions, and the continuing education, this is where we get it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us don't have time to sit and read through the journals.
Right.
So when we're here, we're learning, and then we're learning what's new to provide pet parents with better, health care for their pets.
Right.
Better devices that they can use, home care. I mean, it's a game changer.
And veterinarians have to continue their education, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, we're required.
Excellent.
Keep our licenses. We got to be here.
Okay, great. All right. Well, that's it for our story time. What do you say we get to our first guest?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Beyond the Leash, exploring the untold stories of pet passion and professionalism.
All right. right, our first guests on this special show are Dr. Marty Becker, known as America's Veterinarian. He's dedicated his career to enhancing the health and well-being of pets and their human companions. That's us. And he's the founder of Fear Free, an organization that is committed to, and he's got a tattoo to prove it, that's committed to preventing and alleviating fear, anxiety, and stress in pets by educating and inspiring those who care for them. Now, Dr. Becker served as the resident veterinary contributor on Good Morning America for how many? 17 years? 17 years. And he's authored about 23 books. He's not very busy, including 3 New York Times bestsellers, and he holds an adjunct professorship at Washington State University, Colorado State University, and the University of Missouri. Yeah. This teleprompter is new to me. Yeah. Okay. Dr. Becker continues to practice at, where do you find the time to practice? At VCA North Idaho Animal Hospital, reflecting his enduring passion for veterinary medicine and animal welfare. And he is joined by Dr. Jennifer Merlo, like the wine, but not exactly, originating from New Jersey. And she earned her degree in animal sciences and biology from the University of Delaware in 2000. Then she went on to pursue her veterinary education at Ohio State University.
The Ohio State.
Graduating in 2004 with a focus on equine medicine. Now, Dr. Merlo has extensive experience in both emergency and general small animal practice. She's an elite certified fear-free veterinarian and has been instrumental in implementing fear-free practices across various veterinary settings. And that's all the time we have for our show today. Welcome, Dr. Merlo and Dr. Becker.
Hey, you know what's funny? I don't know what your parents were like, but doing TV and writing chicken soup, my mom cared nothing about that. But she loved I was in writing for Reader's Digest. Yeah.
So, I have to say about Marty, first of all, for those of you who don't know, which I can't believe anybody does not know Marty Becker, but truly, when we talk about game changers, what you've done for the profession as far as promoting education, better for pets and better for pet parents, and have you done it for so many years, educating through GMA and stuff like that was amazing. I remember when we were both worked for ABC, because you were doing GMA, I was doing the home show. And the home show usually followed GMA.
Yeah.
And, it was great. So doing segments like that. But, the funniest thing is Marty and I have worked similarly for almost 40 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
We have talked several times about doing something together. Marty, this is the first time ever you and I are sitting in the same studio in front of the same camera.
It is. You know what? It is.
That is crazy.
Every year,
we bring the legends and the OGs together.
Unanswered prayers. No, that is because we've always worked cooperative, never a competition. Always help each other out and support each other, and that's amazing. That kind of gave me the shivers there.
It is so crazy. So anyway, Marty, tell us about why and how Fear Free. What got you started?
Okay, so I'm brevity challenged. Let me give it a shot here. Okay, so. Starting at age 6, wanted to be a dairy practitioner. Now I'm in vet school at age 20. The dean gave a talk on the first hour of the first day about the human-animal bond, and I went, okay, I'm going companion animal. So literally the first half hour of school, I switched from dairy to companion animal. And I was always privy and partner Dean Leo Bustad, who coined the term the human-animal bond. He was my dean, and the Bustad Award's the most prestigious award you can win. So Chicken Soup for the Soul led to Good Morning America, led to, syndicated column, blah, blah, blah. So now I'm 55. And if I had to, before that, if I thought of anything that people knew me for, is probably the human-animal bond. I had a lecture by a board of behaviors named Karen Overall, and top tier, top shelf. And she gave a talk about fear. And her opening line was, fear is the worst thing a social species can experience and causes permanent damage to the brain. She showed images of pets and the signs of fear, anxiety, and stress. And honestly, I thought those were like collateral damage before. And I recognized them, but didn't know all the damage we were doing. So I left her talk a changed person. I thought back of dogs and Dr. Jeff, you and I know, and Dr. Jen, the dogs we held down to trim their nails or get a blood draw, and they thought they're going to die. The pet's mom or dad thinks they're hurting them by trying to help them by taking them. And so let me wrap this up. We went back to boarded veterinary behaviorists because that's who has the education, training, and experience. That's the bedrock.
Yeah.
We spent 5 years in proof of concept. How do you actually do it? How do you take the pet out of petrified and put the treat into treatment? And 250 people on the fear-free advisory group. So I have no special gift. I was stretching cats out into 2 zip codes before fear-free.
Right.
So, but now, even if you're not in anything to do with fear-free, you're probably doing stuff that fear-free started.
Yes.
Not examining pets up on the table, giving pre-visit pharmaceuticals, gabapentin.
So, I mean, obviously, this is why it's so important. Have you noticed any pushback? And if so, why do you think that?
Oh, well, you and I both know about the scarcity mentality. So somebody predicted at the start that, first of all, people would say, we already do it, we just don't call it fear-free. Or they'd say, well, actually was the one that created it, you know. And then the main pushback that we get, and Dr. Jen, you know, first fear-free certified practice in South Carolina and handled practice certification. So there's 2 things you'll hear all the time. Costs too much, it takes too much time.
Yep.
And both of those, we have studies. I mean,
Yep.
the hard costs are 50 cents to $1. That's it per exam.
Mm-hmm.
And the time, it takes 26 seconds longer. And like any new skill you learn, it's like our first spay versus what, or your first laser ablation for a Frenchie versus now is probably yeah.
Yeah.
So there's really, I remember when Apoquel came out. So, you know, this miracle skin a derm thing from Zoetis. And the speaker had this benefit, and then he says, but we need to talk about side effects. And everybody's waiting, you know. It was a blank screen.
Right.
There was no downside to it. And
Right.
with fear-free, it's better medicine, it's safer, it's easier to attract, develop, and retain people. It's very profitable. It's fun and really good for mental health. When Jeff, you and I have just been talking. Your clients have followed you from practice to practice, decade to decade. You're seeing grandchildren of people. And yes, you're a good veterinarian, but a lot of people think their veterinarian's a good veterinarian, but it's your love of animals, right? You were fear-free before fear-free. I mean, you just intuited it. Yeah, we've definitely advanced it with the protocols and things we have, but yeah.
I want to bring Dr. Jen into this.
It's hard to get a word in edgewise when Marty's in a conversation. I knew that coming in, don't worry.
That's why we love you so much. So,
It's not your first rodeo with Dr. Becker.
Not my first time with Marty.
So you're the vice president of veterinary affairs with Fear-Free.
Yes.
Can you tell our listeners and viewers who are pet parents, what does the Fear-Free experience look like to them or to their pet?
Yeah. So great question. So what I equate it to is I'm a parent not just of 4-legged creatures, but I have 2-legged children as well, right? I would never imagine taking my 2-legged children into a doctor's office and letting the staff say, all right, I'm going to take them to the back now. You won't know what's happening. They go off and do something. I don't know. I can't see.
Right.
Your
child's
I
terrified.
might hear some things in the background.
And you're a kid, right?
Right.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
they bring my child back up. Everything was fine. Don't worry. That's an experience I would never want for my children, right? And pet owners now, that's not the experience they want for their pets, nor should it be the experience that they get for their pets. They should come in to a facility that is comfortable, not just for the pet, but for them as well, where it's calm. It's like walking into a spa. That's what we always say. It should be that level of experience where it's there's treats. I joke. If I went to the doctor and they offered me a hot fudge sundae, you can draw blood all day. Let's go, right? It's the same thing for our pets, though. They want to enjoy that time. There should be toys. They should be excited to see the caregivers that are there that are caring for them and providing their medical care. There should be respect for those pets that they can say, no, this experience is something that I am not comfortable with, and that they are not forced into any sort of position, restraint, procedure that does not make them comfortable. As Dr. Becker was saying, when a client feels more comfortable and they feel that their pet is comfortable, they're more likely to say okay to doing all of the things that you're asking them to do, right? What pet owner is going to want to leave their beloved 4-legged child somewhere where they feel like they're uncomfortable, they're nervous, they're stressed? They're not going to do that, right? So really becomes almost an extension of their home atmosphere in the veterinary setting.
Right.
You know, what I noticed, you know, going into practice early, and this is kind of a Marty kind of story. I walked into an exam room, and there was this cutest little dog, and I pick him up, and I go, "My God, you are so cute!" And he is licking me like crazy. And then I get down to the floor, and I started playing with him. And first time I ever saw this client or patient, and what caught me was mom saying, "Oh my God, I've always expected a veterinarian to do it. I've never seen a vet do it."
Yep.
And I said to myself, like, you're changing when you heard that.
Yeah.
Oh boy, am I going to have fun in this profession?
Yep.
You know what? Science and soul. State of the art meets state of the heart, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, the one thing, just quickly, right now, the general public does not, everybody in veterinary medicine knows fear-free. The general public does not know the difference between a practice that's what they're used to. They think they're all the same.
Right.
So I just want to go to the one in my neighborhood or this zip code. Why would I go anywhere else, right?
Right.
But we're gonna develop a consumer name pretty rapidly now. And what's gonna happen is people are gonna go, my dog does not drag me in to have my nails trimmed, right? Or my cat does not take treats at the vet. So the practice that I still work at, most of the dogs will drag their mom or dad in to have their nails trimmed, and 85% of the cats that are sick or injured take a treat.
Yeah.
So once you start seeing that and they see the difference, like, oh wow,
Right. They don't know anything different
They don't
Right.
think
until they
But once
see
they
the
do,
examples.
They don't want anything
Right.
else for their pets.
Right.
And they
And-
realize it's so much better.
And what is the long-term effect of pets not getting that kind of care or being terrified going into the vet each time? What
Well,
happens?
what Karen overall said is fear is the worst thing a social species can experience that cause permanent damage to the brain.
Yep.
And she went on to explain, literally before Karen overall, you'd have a dog that'd come in and lay down with its head down there, but like it was asleep. And I thought, God, those dogs are so relaxed. They just come in and like go to sleep. That's the worst it can be. It's called collapsing immobility. It's like if you're you're in a war zone and you're trapped, or somebody's breaking in your house and you get in a place and you can't move.
Right.
They literally think they're seconds away from dying.
Right. Yeah.
So it's and it gets worse over time. So those Dr. Jen's probably better talking about this than I am, but this phobia leads to this phobia, leads to this phobia, and so FAS gets worse, noise phobias, all the other things.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you said, there are kids, and you want them to have just like
Absolutely.
our kids and grandkids, physical well-being, emotional well-being.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Marty, you're always a tough guy to hold down in one place.
Yeah.
And so now tell me about pain-free.
Oh, this is the thing I'm passionate about. I got this arm reserved for this
Oh, you
one.
haven't showed their audience. Your
Oh, yes, that's true.
Hey, you know what? My dad had sayings, most of them you couldn't repeat because they were dirty. But he did say, you know, the difference in ham and eggs, the chicken's involved, but the pig's committed.
Oh.
Fear-free.
There's like a
That's
walking
a
billboard.
commitment.
I
Yes,
am a
yes.
walking bill, original logo, new
logo.
rebrand.
Yep.
Hope
That
that's-
was our-
hope that's the last
So,
one.
I did-
speaking of your
yeah.
dad, and one of the things I said you in an
Yeah,
article you
yeah.
wrote that he said, I work a half a day, 12 hours.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I interrupted your
No.
He asked about pain-free.
No, so pain-free. Karen overall, I'm going to go back to her. Yeah, again, I'm not Temple Grandin. That's a special gift. But she said, fear is caused by something painful or something disturbing. You trim the nails too short. That's painful. Now the pet sees the nail trimmers or goes back to the spot in the clinic where their nails are always trimmed.
Yeah.
Or at home, that's disturbing.
Right.
A syringe, blood draw, syringe injection, long-acting antibiotic, vaccinations, all painful. Well, the pet sees the syringe, that's disturbing, right? It's been called the weapon of mass destruction. Too soon?
Yeah, no, that's good.
Too soon? Okay. So we got to go back to pain, because pain is underdiagnosed and undertreated. And now, Jeff, you and I have talked about AI and how AI is going to allow earlier detection of pain, and so we can really get ahead of that.
Yeah.
But you remember doing declaws and remember orthopedic surgeries? There was no pain medication whatsoever.
Right.
So WSABA has a great pain program. IVAPM has a great pain program, but we feel like we can do it differently. So where they may get hundreds per year, we think we can get hundreds of thousands of people. And we also have programs for trainers, groomers, pet sitters, boarding, daycare, dog walkers. So we can bring that whole umbrella in looking for pain. And then if we can get a consumer voice, we need consumers knowing early on. Because Jeff, it's hard to reach people now. There's not the, you and I aren't on TV all the time, right?
Right.
And it's kind of stratified to the social media. But I think we're going to do the learning differently. Like Dr. Jen's redoing things into more pulse learning, so you can listen to it on the way to work. You can see a little short video. So I took a bite of the appetizer. Okay, I want to go further.
Right. Dr. Jen, I wanted to ask you, how many fear-free practices are there in the United States right now?
Yeah, great question. So there's close to 600 that are going through the process. So about 50% of those have already completed it and are certified. In North America, we do have some internationally as well, but then the other half are somewhere in the process. So we're making great strides, considering we only launched that program 7 years ago.
Right.
So
it's for parents that are watching or listening, and they're like hearing what you're saying.
Right,
it's like, oh my gosh, I have got to find a fear-free practice. Do they just go to the website and there's
fearfree.com, and we have a directory, and they can look for both a certified professional in their area, again, whether that be veterinary professional or pet professional, or they can look for an entire certified practice.
Right. And at what point does fear-free become a standard in veterinary medicine?
Well, here's the good news. I wrote an article, I'll make this brief. I wrote an article for Veterinary Practice News, and Jeff and I were talking about in there, it's going to be controversial because we compared a 1980 graduate to somebody that's going to start school this fall. They're going to graduate in 2030. So it's a 50-year difference, okay? We were taught restraint, and it was harsh. I mean, we had to cast a horse off its feet. I mean, cows, bull rings and twitches.
Remember the term Brutithane?
Brutithane.
Yeah.
So now all 200 plus AVMA accredited veterinary technician schools require fear-free certification of all students.
Wonderful.
And about 3/4 of the 42, 43 veterinary schools. So they're learning this from the start. So you're going to start seeing them come out. It's just a new education.
Yeah.
And once consumers, it's so black and white. Once they can actually see, in this one, my pet's emotional well-being is got bubble wrap around it, and he's kissing them, and they're taking treats, and they're licking their own name off a plastic charcuterie board while you vaccinate. They wake up from surgery and there's somebody with them, and they got little premature baby socks on, and they're warm, and that's what we want.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, wow. Well, you downplay your role. You always say you try not to take the credit, but you deserve the credit for bringing this to pet parents and to veterinarians and pets everywhere. And I'm so happy to be one of your fear-free advisors.
We've known each other. Well,
we go way back.
You did your anxiety month too.
Yes. Pet anxiety awareness.
You started that. Yes.
Well, and it was Dr. Lisa Radassa who I took my dog, Buck, to, who had severe separation anxiety. And she was the one that explained to me that his fear was a fear of like you said, dying. He was literally terrified. And that's what flipped the switch in my brain that, wow, I want to learn more about this. And I don't think pet parents really understand what fear is about.
Yeah.
So.
Well, aren't you in the thunder capital of the world out there where you lived? Yeah.
Yeah, Tampa Bay.
I think the only worst would be to have a pet in by Disney, wouldn't it?
Without fireworks, every night.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
You guys have known each other a long time. Any final questions before we wrap things up?
I was thrilled because I was thinking about it, how, we've talked about, remember we used to teach that class at the conference back in Florida?
Yeah.
Remember that? So
it shows that there's room for both of us. Like when we'd watch, we look like 2/3 of a double stuffed Oreo, He's dark, thin. I'm the double stuffed part of it, and he's got the LA look, You got the LA look, Somehow, middle of America, I don't know what it was.
When we think back, Marty, we've had pretty good runs.
We've had good runs, Marty. Yeah.
Well, and we are honored to have you both on the show today. Thank you so much, and definitely, guys, go check out Fear Free. Is it fearfree.com or fearfreepets.com?
Fearfree.com.
Fearfree.com. Go check it out. Okay, I'm super excited to introduce you to our next guest, Dr. Audrey Wystrach, a distinguished veterinarian entrepreneur and innovator with over 25 years of experience in the veterinary field. You know Dr. Wystrach, so let's finish the introduction. Welcome, Dr. Wystrach. Thank you for having me.
I can't believe I'm on with Dr. Hollywood.
Oh, listen. So, I mean, first and foremost, so tell us about, first of all, you are an innovator.
Yeah.
You're always coming up with something, which is great. And, it's a big boon, a positive for the veterinary profession. Tell us about Petfolk.
Petfolk, modern veterinary experience, really with the customer at the center of everything that we do. And really, my commitment to veterinary medicine, 30 years of practicing, was just make it easier to take care of our beautiful pets and the people who love them. And building a technology-forward company that just takes the friction out of being a pet parent. 24/7 telemedicine, surrounded by beautiful brick and mortar, spa-like facilities, really bringing the joy back to veterinary medicine, not only for the customer, but for our teams. And, veterinarian for 30 years, hyper-focused on bringing the joy back to the practice of veterinary medicine.
Which it needs. And how many clinics are there?
30.
Oh my God, that's
Yes.
Mostly where are they located?
Mostly throughout the Southeast. So North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Texas, and Arizona.
And I assume you could go to your website and put in is there a locator so that pet parents can find you?
Absolutely. Petfolk.com, all the locations are listed. Beautiful tours of the locations, and really learning a lot about how do you become a modern pet parent,
Right.
and what are the experiences that you didn't even know were possible.
Right. So from a pet parent's perspective, let's say that they're a Petfolk customer or client, what would they say is your secret sauce?
I think our secret sauce is just a transformational customer-centric experience and taking all of the things that we want in our modern lifestyle. So I say we live in the Amazon society, right? I want it my way, and I want it now. And we're giving that whole experience to the pet parents. And so how do we have empowered pet parents that have the knowledge that they want? How do we have the transparency that they're craving? And the experience that they're just longing to have, but they didn't even realize was in veterinary medicine.
Can you
Go ahead.
No.
So you've been practicing for a long time. And what changes have you seen as far as a modern practice? For one thing, I built my practice on relationships. And I've seen some clients that are coming from elsewhere animal hospital, new modern type animal hospitals. And one client, for example, was there 6 times and saw 5 different veterinarians. That to me is a different way to build a relationship. Do you want the modern client, the modern pet parent, coming to the hospital or allowing them to develop a relationship with one of the veterinarians?
Interesting. And, for 30 years, I've been in the industry and was born and raised on a ranch in Southern Arizona. So I say I have seen the transaction of yard to pillow. Wow. And pets that used to be, nobody knows what a doghouse is anymore. All of our pets are moving us off of our pillows and taking the priority in the bed. And, so I've seen a ton of change. I also very foundationally, principally associated with building the relationship. But in the modern society where we have a customer that wants 7-day-a-week access, and we have our incredible healthcare teams that want quality of life, the intersection that we've chosen at Petfolk is you're building a relationship with the brand, and the brand is a substantial relationship that meets the pet parent where they want to be met. Yes, you're always going to have your favorite doctors, and you're allowed to interact with the doctors of your choice. But I also want people to understand that philosophically, our doctors believe in the same principles and operate very, very similarly. And I always say one brain is better than 2. So sometimes the complementary interaction between multiple doctors can actually be an add value or a benefit. So for us, building the continuity of a brand and really the trust and the value associated with Petfolk creates an incredible experience that's translatable from North Carolina to South Carolina. We actually have a pet parent who has been to 8 locations in 3 states. She travels a ton. She has a Frenchie named Robichon, and Robichon has been a frequent flyer at all things Petfolk.
Oh my goodness.
He's a Frenchie, so he requires a fair amount of attention.
Yeah,
and she loves it because she said every experience, regardless of what state she's in, regardless of which hospital she's in, feels the same.
Consistent. Yeah. Dr. Wystrach, I want to ask you a question. This is something we experienced with our own dog, Tulip, recently, where we had established ourselves at our local veterinary practice. We're great about our annual wellness visits and staying on top of all things. And when Tulip got sick recently, they were not able, and it was during office, normal business hours, they were not able to get us in for 3 days. So we ended up going to, another practice. How would that situation resolve at Petfolk?
So it is a priority for us to make sure that you can have same-day appointments, and so staffing appropriately to make sure that we can meet the pet parent where they want to be met. I think building groups of hospitals in cities where we have 4 or 5 complementary hospitals, and the pet parent just wants to be seen, and they'll drive a little farther, but giving the optionality for them to be seen same day is a huge priority.
Sure.
And then we have a very substantial telemedicine group that can help guide the pet parent. And so, Jeff, you and I know telemedicine is a big piece of the future of veterinary medicine. And just because the pet parent believes that something's a crisis or a same day or an emergency, sometimes it's not. And sometimes, delay for a day.
More often it's not.
More often it's not. But they need the support to know that they're making the right choice. And so Petfolk will provide you the information and the support. And sometimes it is just meeting the pet parent where they need to be met. So they're busy, they're at work, they've got kids, they've got school, and they're having to take off a half a day to manage something. And so sometimes we can intersect them and say, here's what you need to do today, come see us tomorrow. But, and I think having that modern experience where you have all these different tools and assets really makes a streamlined experience for the pet parent.
Absolutely.
We just don't have a say no philosophy. Say yes to the pet is
that's wonderful.
core to our DNA.
Yes, that's exciting.
So what do you see for the future of Petfolk?
Oh, wow. Future. You know where I live. I live 10 steps ahead of everybody. And they can catch me someday, but maybe not. I think the most exciting thing is having the optimization and the improvement of the experience of us as doctors and our healthcare teams to reduce redundancies and improve our ability to really focus on pet parent and pet is so important. And so taking notes is no longer a thing of our day. We have optimization with all of our AI scribe tools, which allow us to be 10 times more efficient in an appointment, getting information very, very quickly. The other things that we're seeing, radiology is overread by AI. 60% of our cases have a 20-second interval where we have feedback immediately to find out if it's a low risk, a medium risk, or a high risk, and requires a radiologist, or if the AI tool can really read it with confidence. Schedule management, being able to... 60% of our customers book their appointments online, independent of us. And 11 o'clock at night, believe it or not, is a really common time for people to want to get online and book appointments or to look at information. Creating a custom experience with our app and the pet parent interface, and just allowing them to digest the information on their time with their comfort. And I really just think empowering pet parents in general. So you and I are old enough that we saw the shift from paternalistic, I say you do, to a much more inclusive team-based approach. And I honor that greatly, because the person who knows the most about their pet is the pet parent. They're the ones that are with them all the time. And as veterinarians, the best that we can do is make them part of the treatment team, part of the diagnostic team, and really work together for not only figuring out the problems, but then solving those.
So do you promote then flexibility within an exam? For example, again, when I've noticed a lot of these corporate practices, very little flexibility. This is how we do it. This is how it's going to cost. And if you can't do it, then you can go someplace else. And to me, that is so anti my philosophy. Do you allow for flexibility? Would you give clients an options if they're available?
Optionality, absolutely. Born and raised on a ranch. Options, duct tape and barbed wire and smooth wire do everything, right? So living in a world of optionality is really important. Budget, being able to do the right thing, being able to allow the customer to have the needs of, I need to do this today, but maybe this can be for tomorrow. I think being inclusive with the customer to make sure that they understand all the different layers that are available to them, what is gold standard, and then what is actually in the budget for right now and in the treatment plan for right now. We have a lot of people who come back in incremental visits because they want to be able to amortize that cost over a year, as opposed to digesting all of that cost all at once. And so optionality for not only our pet parents, but also for our doctors. And I think one thing I forgot to mention is flexibility of work is a big thing. And with 85% of our doctors being female, and knowing that lifestyle choices and being able to be a mom and raise children and be part of a family, our doctors love optionality and flexibility in work. And we crave to deliver that to them.
Now, speaking of doctors, for those maybe younger doctors that are tuning in, are you hiring?
Always, always. We actually have a waiting list of doctors in a couple of the states that we're in. I think that the doctors are craving something that they haven't seen before, and to have a culture that is really exuding the joy of veterinary medicine and being able to provide the tools to support their medical needs, and creating a culture where they are supported by the medical leadership and female-led and veterinary-led. No offense, but you know, we don't see a lot of females in leadership roles in our industry.
Correct.
It's still very male-dominated in the hierarchy of leadership. And you know, I say we're doing things differently. My field team, my medical team, my operations team, me, like, let's go. Life's changing.
Yeah, what I'm seeing is a lot of the younger veterinarians that are choosing not to have full-time or even part-time jobs at one place. They love relief. Where they can call their shots, they can go whenever they want to. If they don't want to work, they don't have to work. And more and more doctors I hear.
Well, we created an entire internal ecosystem called Petfolk Flex. And so we stood up an app with, we have over 500 doctors that work for us on a flexible schedule all around the United States. You can literally plan. I have one doctor who works every Saturday, and she works all throughout our Charlotte areas and loves to just, she has a youngster at home. Her husband is home on Saturdays and she wants to work. And when her little guy gets in school, she wants to work more. But right now, 1 day a week is absolutely perfect. And so those doctors can get on Petfolk Flex, choose their schedule, and live their best life. And so, you know, I lived in a world where if you were working 5 days a week and you didn't have a regular job, like there were no choices. And we have to be so realistic with the way that work has changed and what people are desiring to do.
Exactly. Dr. Wystrach, we're going to have to let you go, but thank you so much for bringing Petfolk to us. You're making it better for veterinarians, for their pets and their pet parents, and we can't wait to see what you do next.
Well, thanks for having me.
It's great.
I didn't know that I got to sit on the couch with the famous Dr. Jeff.
Not only that, but these two right here are some of the best dressed in veterinary medicine.
You know, look good, feel good, right?
Yep, exactly. Absolutely.
Thank you, Dr. Wystrach.
Thanks, Audrey.
Super fun.
Yep.
The product of the week.
Well, Dr. Werber, you truly know everybody at this show.
Everybody, a lot.
Almost everybody.
But how many to come to the show for this many years? I've been here for like 30 years coming to the show.
Those were some great guests. So now we do our products. Okay. And normally Chris would say it's our product of the week. Right. So I'll go first.
Go ahead.
I want to do Nylabone. And the reason I want to do Nylabone is because they are celebrating their 70th anniversary. Nylabone started in 1955. Wow. And I think if you have a dog, if you've ever had a dog, you probably have heard of Nylabone. They are these, I guess it's kind of made of a nylon. They come in all kinds of cool shapes and sizes. They also, I learned this today, they come in different
textures too.
So this is an extremely hard one, but they also have softer ones.
This one you can use as self-defense if you ever like walking on the street at night.
Yeah, exactly.
This is that. The dogs love both. I have Nylabone all over the house.
You probably do. But what I wanted to mention is because it's their 70th anniversary, they are doing when you buy a Nylabone, they're donating one to Best Friends Animal Society.
Great.
And it's all year long. So they started in February, it's going to go all year long. So definitely check them out. And they're even going to have an anniversary, a Nylabone anniversary toy coming out in April. So check that out.
Yeah, these are great.
Yeah, so talk to us about your product.
So what I wanted to highlight, and we kind of mentioned in the show, Marty mentioned it, is my son and I run the largest pet telemedicine platform in the country. It's called Airvet.
Airvet. Mm-hmm.
And basically it's 24/7 access to a veterinarian. Or if you would like to do a chat instead, you can do it with one of our online RVTs, registered veterinary technician or registered veterinary nurse. And I mean, it's a game changer because, you know, oftentimes I've been concierge my entire career. So my clients, yes, I'm the idiot that gives my clients the cell phone number and it's going nonstop.
Right.
But most doctors don't do that. So what happens is at night or after hours, what do? They put the recording on. Hi, thanks for calling. So Animal Hospital, we're closed. If you have an emergency, head to the emergency. Okay. Meanwhile, I will tell you, having done over 4,000 virtual visits, that probably 95% are not emergencies.
Really?
You have to go tonight.
Really? But they don't know, so they
go because that's what the recording told them to go.
Yes.
When you get to the emergency clinic, first of all, you get to wait 4 or 5 hours, and you get to spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
Something that on Airvet, talking to a veterinarian, all visual.
Right.
You're sitting there, let me see the dog, let me see that. That eye, okay, it looks pretty scary, but it can wait.
Right.
So we're there like triage.
Okay.
We're trying to keep the relationship between the pet parent, the pet, and their veterinarian.
Right.
And not going, and most, as Marty said, most dogs And cats don't like going to a strange emergency clinic.
Right, exactly.
So they don't have to.
So this is so much better. They don't have to leave home.
So much better. They get to be home. And again, if it's a real emergency, and then each case is open for 72 hours. So let's say something changes after the initial call. You just go on, you send a chat to that doctor, and the doctor calls you back on the virtual.
Wow. And
it's great.
It's 24/7.
24/7.
And it's an app on your phone.
App on the phone.
And how, if pet parents want to learn more about Airvet or subscribe, or how do they get involved?
They can just go to airvet.com.
Just go to airvet.com and sign up and...
Yep.
Wow.
You can always get me at jeff@airvet.com.
Yeah, and don't give your cell phone number on the show.
Okay. And I do my radio show every Sunday morning, and people always, I sometimes slip.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Maybe I shouldn't give them my
And actually, speaking of your radio show, you take questions from pet parents.
Yep.
And you told me earlier that you live stream on Instagram.
Instagram.
So can you give us your Instagram handle so people can...
It's Werbs, my nickname since I'm a little kid, Werbs, WERBS _DVM.
Werbs_DVM, and it's on Sundays.
Sunday mornings at 9 in the west, noon in the east, and anywhere in between.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on this huge success of Airvets.
Thank you.
And helping, just like Dr. Becker and our other guests, to change veterinary medicine for the better for everybody.
That's what I like to do.
Yeah.
Q&As.
Okay, now we're at the time. This is Chris's favorite part of the show. It's where we answer 2 of our viewer and listener questions.
Okay.
And I'm super excited that you're here because I'm going to let you answer them because I think both of them are health related.
Okay.
Okay, so the first question is from Emily in Denver. She says, my dog has been scratching incessantly lately, but I haven't noticed any fleas. What could be causing this, and how can I help alleviate his discomfort?
So when it comes to scratching, it could be a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's most likely an allergy.
Okay.
And depending on where on the body we see the lesions.
Okay.
For example, if it's on the underside, belly, back to the thighs, we think what's called atopy, right, which is inhaled allergens.
Okay.
It still could be fleas, even though they don't see any fleas. The veterinarian or tech should actually take a look at the dog. If it's face and feet and maybe ears, now you got to think food.
Okay.
Because that's where it manifests itself.
Face, feet, or ears, it could
Right.
be
Now, there's a lot of overlap because ears can also be atopy, atopic dermatitis. When you see it in the lower back, right, at the rump piece of the tail, I'm going to look for it, and I'll probably find a flea.
Yeah.
Because that is classic flea allergy. But there's a big problem also.
Yeah.
When the dog breaks the skin, they get secondary infection from a staphylococcal, it's called staph pseudoepidermidis. That in of itself is itchy.
Yeah.
So if you treat the allergy, like with, Apoquil or Cytopoint injections or whatever, but you don't treat the secondary infection, the dogs are still going to scratch.
Yeah. Okay.
So you got to get.
So it's a scratch. It's a scratch on top, itch on top of itch.
Right.
With
Exactly.
the okay, interesting. All right, next question. And thank you, Emily, for your question. All right, next we have Michael from Austin, Texas. He says, my indoor cat has suddenly started urinating outside the litter box. What are some common reasons for this behavior change, and what steps should I take to address it?
So cats are really interesting creatures. They read us and their environments very well. So it could be that, and this is, Marty alluded to this.
Yeah.
So the cat goes into a litter box and it has a little bit of, say, cystitis. Okay. And they feel that pain.
Yeah.
So where did the pain come from? Do they realize it was just from their bladder? No.
Right.
That box. When I went into that box, I felt the
associate
pain.
the pain with the litter box.
Right.
Okay.
That's one thing. Another thing is sometimes cats, when they're mad at you for something, you got to think, what did I change? Was it a diet? Even so much as my schedule. If I get home 15 minutes later than I normally get home, I'm telling mom right now how I feel about that.
Right.
So it's amazing how sensitive. So again, we have to rule out the medical problems.
Right.
So that would be urinalysis, maybe taking an ultrasound picture, look at the bladder wall, is it thick, et cetera, et cetera. Then you can look at dietary things.
Yep.
Oftentimes you have to culture the urine looking for a bacterial infection. And if it's not that, then think of behavior.
Right.
And then things like feel away.
Yep.
There are some things one can do that are very natural and very safe that might help these cats just seem more comfortable.
Right.
But and also think about other things. Change the litter. Sometimes
It
cats
could be a dirty litter box, right?
or just they want a new litter. They
that's true.
start getting
Yeah.
it's like food. You give a cat the same food too many times. There's enough already. So with me, with Ice Cream Sunday, it wouldn't happen.
Right.
But cats can also change. So check the litter box, check the litter brand, check litter box location.
Okay.
And you're looking at medical issues with cats and very strong behavioral input as well.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad you got to join us today on the show. Thank you
love
for
it.
co-hosting with me.
I'm very happy to be a fill-in.
Well, you're more than a fill-in. Chris, you might have lost your job. Except I don't think we can afford Dr. Werber. If you have a question for us, just go to petsaddlife.org/podcast and scroll down to the bottom of the page where you can enter it in, or you can leave a voice memo with your question and you just might see it answered here on the show. That's all we have for today.
Today's
show at WVC. Thank you for being here. I know you're busy, so we'll let you get on your way. And since we're here in Las Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And the best bet you can make is not on the casino floor, but on that unconditional love that your pet gives you every single day.
That's true. That's great.
Right? Bye now.
Pets Add Life.